It's a pity that Maëlle is not there. She's involved in France. She's a new PhD, and she applied to positions of assistant professor in France. So she's not there today, but I will try to do my best to forget this impeachment. We are both once from Université Côte d'Azur. This name is Commune in France. Is a group of university and business school and high schools. Yeah, and I am also from CNRS from France. I'm a member of national committee of this group of research, and from years we work in particularly with Maëlle on complementary currencies. And from last year, we began with Maëlle a series of interviews of complementary currency systems managing staffs in France to constitute, during these years, maybe we will finish next year, material able to conduct a qualitative study on the objectives, successes, and difficulties also of French experiences. We began with interview of the Big Four in France, located in Toulouse, Nantes, Basque countries, and Lyon. I don't know if you can see this first page of this Big Four. In English, this is Sol Violet is a step toward a sustainable economy. This is the main objective that is declared by Sol Violet, that is a complementary currency experience in Toulouse. For Nantes, so Nantes, this is a younger one, helps and accelerates local exchange in Nantes region. Je declare this in their first page. For La Gonette, this is a Lion experience. La Gonette is a local as citizen currency, and the last is the more explicit, this is the biggest one from Basque country. His name is USCO, and USCO intends, it is written on their homepage, to define short distribution channels and proximity exchange, etc., etc. So, despite a large diversity of technological solution, governance, dynamism, etc., all teams have one common objective in this kind of experience, promoting local development and, in the most of the cases, sustainability and short distribution channels. All these experiences also face the same problem. This problem is finding ways to increase the size of the network, that is finding not only retailers, but also wholesalers, commercial intermediaries, and producers able to accept complementary currency in payment. This is the main difficulty that they face in all cases. So we have looked to literature, and we have observed that even in the literature the same thing is observed. In many situations, complementary currencies are used to promote local development. For instance, you have a lot of work from the initial work of Seifung and Smiths. When this proportion extends to local producers, the objective is to promote sustainable solution. In agriculture, for instance, it is frequently easier to use sustainable technology when the objective is to target local consumption than when traditional distribution channels are used. And sustainable objectives are then frequently adopted by complementary currency systems, which could charter to control the activity, use charters to control activity of members. For instance, you have works from colleagues from Lyon, Far and Blanc and Far on this kind of subject. The network of users must be sufficiently large to have effects on sustainability and distribution channel, and convertibility of complementary currency has two opposite effects, and this is the challenge on network size. The first, this is a positive one. When reconversion is allowed, complementary currency seems more attractive to professionals. We have a lot of work observing this. But in the opposite way, in this case, members make few efforts to find partners able to accept complementary currency, and the complementary currency does not circulate too much. So the issue with convertibility is not so easy to when considering local production, sustainability, we have to introduce distinction between standard goods and quality goods. Quality goods are produced by locally, are produced with the objective of sustainability. Sometimes they are biological goods, and the quality of these goods is an additional difficulty, is imperfectly observable, even after consumption. When you consume a carrot from biological origin, it's not different than when you consume standard carrot. You observe the difference so many years after. So this quality, this type of goods is qualified by ambiguous good in economics. There is no generally credible or accepted label from those goods. And our assumptions, working assumption, is that complementary currency system could be used as a substitute to labels with as objective to signal quality goods produced locally. Then complementary currency use involve different costs for users, especially professional, and this is the difficulty that is remaining in the study. And there is a problem, and given our assumption, namely that complementary currency could improve observability of quality goods, and that complementary currency involve fixed and variable costs for retailers, local producers, etc., our research questions are which conditions are required to make complementary currency able to improve the activation of short distribution channels. This is one question. The second one is under which conditions not only retailers but also producers could accept complementary currency in payment. We use a theoretical model for the moment, a theoretical model using mathematical analysis, but we will limit today with a non-formal, a non-mathematical presentation, a non-technical presentation. The model examines the distribution of, again, a given consumption goods, let's say tomatoes, or if you want, vegetables, to be more general, in a urban area. We have two qualities for this kind of good. One standard quality, it is produced by classical technologies, industrial agriculture, provide to retailers by standard long distribution channels, and you have a quality good. Produced locally by producers more respectful from environment, they are provided by short distribution channels in this case. We have different costs and wholesale prices. Wholesale price of standard goods are lower than those of quality goods because this is intensive agriculture, this is more efficient than quality goods. And wholesale prices of standard goods are given because competition is not local, is general, is mondial or European or at the national level. So the price is given, while wholesale price of quality goods depend on cost of local producers, but also on demand of these goods in the urban area. So we have this difference between these two kinds of goods. The distribution of the two categories of goods depends on relative prices of these two categories of goods, but depends also on the quality observability. Are consumers able to observe the quality of quality goods, I would say. This quality is imperfectly observable, as I said, even after consumption. But retailers, this is our assumption, accepting complementary currency in payment can also accept to be controlled periodically by an association of citizens in charge of promoting short distribution channels. Controllers of this association verify the quality of inventories of these retailers. If it is okay, they provide them the advantage in reconversion of complementary currency. They could reconvert with a small penalty, but that could reconvert their complementary currency in the national one. If the quality of inventories is at the moment revealed as standard and not quality good, then all advantages in reconvention are removed. We have supposed that there are many retailers, that the retailers are heterogeneous by the number of potential clients, small ones, big ones, middle ones. They have different size of premises, differences in capital, in human capital, and in other immaterial inputs, for instance. But beyond heterogeneity, retailers are also smaller in size to impose their condition to local producers. They are only able to agree to avoid any excessive competition among them. They have no control on wholesale prices of local quality goods, but apply the same markup on variable cost to determine consumer price. So consumer price is obtained by a markup on the wholesale price that is determined by the producer. There is one single local producer that is working assumptions that you are ready to change to improve our work. And this producer has to support specific production costs associated to quality, but also fixed operational costs and variable conversion costs associated to the use of complementary currency if he accepts or if she accepts this complementary currency in payment. It's not obliged to. Local producer is supposed to be big, rather big, in front of retailers, and is able to determine wholesale price and to accept or not complementary currency in payment. And we have analyzed the model in this case, and we found that the incentive mechanism proposed by the association generate a partially separating process. All retailers accepting complementary currency also provide quality goods, but not the contrary. All retailers selling quality goods do not always accept complementary currency. Why? Because sometimes cost is too high for some of them, and they prefer to sell at a lower price quality goods, not accepting a complementary currency with the conversion cost, etc. Because we have all these costs, complementary currency is not always accepted by all of those retailers that sell quality goods. But we have analyzed completely the model by a game. This is a little bit technique. This is a games with three type of factor. Consumers, they are quite passive. They are assumed to react to the quality of goods and prices. Retailers decide to supply standard goods or quality goods. And if they decide to supply quality goods, they decide to accept or not complementary currency in payment. And producers decide the price of their production and to accept or not complementary currency in payment. So this is a three-stage game. At the first stage, local produce determines his decision, etc., etc. And we have analyzed these games, solving it backwardly. You have considered a position that is an equilibrium solution in which retailers expect exactly consumer choices when they make their choice at stage 2, when they take their own decision, and the same for producers. And we examine the solutions of this game, considering the research question, namely in which circumstances could CC complementary currency improve the activation of short distribution channel, and under which condition retailers, not only retailers but also producers, accept this complementary currency. We concentrated on situation in which at least some retailers, one or more retailers, choose to supply quality goods, and at least some of them accept to be paid in complementary currency. And we found 4 possibilities. The first one is, we can detail them. The first one is a case with a rather good observability of quality and high conversion cost. In this case, quality goods are also sold outside shop, accepting. I don't know if this is something to know. who can use this? Oh. Like this. Okay. In this case, quality goods are sold by those retailers that accept complementary currency, but also by one, because in this case there is a rather good observability of quality goods, and these ones considers as the conversion costs are too high to accept complementary currency payment. So this is not a bad news that complementary currency does not circulate too much, because in this case quality goods circulate as sold. We have a second, I don't know if it's not possible to use this one. So we have a second possibility. In this case, we have a bad observability of quality, but also high conversion cost. And as you observe, in this case, only those retailers accepting complementary currency are able to offer to supply quality goods. In this case, the use of complementary currency is very important, because if complementary currency would be not there, probably there will no offer, no supply of quality goods, because this quality is not is very imperfectly observed. In this case, complementary currency circulates more and helps to activate short distribution channels. Then you have two other cases. In this case, this is the case 3. The case 1 and 2 are in common the fact that producers refuse to use complementary currency to be paid in complementary currency. Retailers are obliged to convert or to use from themselves this complementary currency to consume. The case 3 and 4 are cases where there is a low conversion costs, good observability for case 3 or bad observability for following one. And in these cases 3 and 4, producers accept to be paid in complementary currency. So you have if not, you have the same thing, that in this case quality goods are also provided by some retailers that refuse to be paid in complementary currency, but all retailers accepting to be paid in complementary currency can also pay producers in the same complementary currency. So the network is wider in this case than in the case 1. And the last one is the best one, let's say. It is the case where not only all, it is the best one for complementary currency, not obligatory for quality. Not only all those offering quality accept to be paid in complementary currency, but also the producers accept. So we have introduced comparative statistics to analyze in which case we have one equilibrium or the other, and we have observed using, for instance, varying the level of observability of quality, that increasing this observability increases short distribution channels use and decrease complementary currency use. No, because the more quality is observable, the less you need complementary currency. Increasing the reliability of complementary currency association, that is its capacity to control members and to signal quality, increase both the use of short distribution channels and complementary currency use. Maintaining the same conversion cost for retailers and producers limits drastically the cases in which producers accept to be paid in complementary currency. On the contrary, it is necessary to decrease substantially conversion costs for producers compared with those two retailers, for retailers to make them accept in complementary currency. So this is contrasting results. We have introduced not only theoretical results but also numerical simulation. In this case, you have a case with identical conversion costs for retailers and producers. In the horizontal axis, you have the observability of quality, and you observe that when this quality is is not observable, is very imperfectly observable. We have a case too that we have all those that supply quality goods also accept to be paid in complementary currency. All those retailers that supply quality goods accept to be paid in complementary currency. And when you increase the observability, that you move to case one, that is, you have also retailers offering quality goods and refusing to be paid in complementary currency. Then when you move to other situation where, for instance, you decrease slightly conversion costs for producers, then situation 2 and 4 crosses, and you have that when the quality of goods are not so observable, you have the situation where producers accept to be paid in complementary currency, but when the quality, the observability increases, then you move back to this situation. Yes, I finish. To this situation where only retailers accept are obliged to convert, producers refuse, and there are also retailers that offer without accepting to be paid in complementary currency. This is a situation where you have very small conversion costs, and you observe that in this case the best solution dominates. That is, you have many situations in which producers accept to be paid in complementary currency. So the partial conclusion, because this is a work in process, that the first result is that complementary currency could help developing short distribution channel if they could signal quality of good, not only for sociological reasons, that is, ordinarily you say that members share values, helping short distribution channel to emerge, but also for economic reasons. The signaling process they provide can be efficient. A second remark is that they are more efficient when quality is poorly observable naturally. A third remark is that it is hard to convince local producers to accept complementary currency in payment. This is due to 2 reasons. The first is conversion cost. We have observed that when you reduce this conversion cost, producers are accepting this to be paid. But the other reason could be, we are not sure of this because we have only tested the solution model where a producer is in a position of monopoly. The second reason could be that the producer is in the position of relative monopoly in front of retailers. We have not tested a case where there could be a competition, symmetry between these 2 types of agent. We have worked with an assumption of a symmetry between producer and retailers. We don't know if it is relevant or not. We think so, but we are not sure. We intend testing other situations, using, for instance, a bargaining solution to share the gains of exchange between producers and the retailers. And we'll test this case to find if this retailers, these producers are more interested in accepting currency in the payment in this case.
I am sure that Michelle has a question.
Yeah, sorry. I have. Is it working?
Yes.
I have to use my this microphone for the recording. Well, I have to rush to another workshop, so I have to make a short question. Among the 4 complementary currencies, years ago in the French Basque country, because we are here in Spain, we has has a very unique goal, which is to promote the Basque language, right? So do you? Yes.
First page. they write that this is the first goal is to define sustainable solution. I will come back.
In this case, what I'd like to know is that this goal this goal that they have, to promote.
Vise à défendre les circuits courts, is short distribution channel.
But when I read their website, they said that they really promote the Basque language as well.
Yes, but
and
not only.
Huh?
Not only.
Okay, but so what I'd like to know if this unique goal of promoting the Basque language has something to do with economic cooperation. Thank you. Merci.
Sure. When we had this interview with Basque country promoters and manager, we observed that this goal is important. We are in a smaller country with differences in languages, etc. But this is not the only goal, because in the first page of their homepage, that explains that Première Monnaie Locale de France is the first complementary currency in France, created, etc., etc. Its goal is to defend the short distribution channel and proximity exchange. This is the first goal that they declare in their homepage. So the Basque speaking is another thing. But you're right, this is another goal.
Thank you. I will be short. So it seems that you are making the good guys paying for the good things. Usually, I mean, economists say that the guy that is polluting or doing the bad thing should pay, so that we should put taxes. And here in your model, it seems that's the good guy, the local producers wishing to produce quality goods, that should pay the conversion cost, blah 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 blah. So why aren't you favoring taxes and making the big producers of standard goods pay and leave the quality goods producer alone? You know, because it seems that the good guy here is paying the conversion cost and all the costs for changing, for favoring, for promoting quality goods.
I think it's better more questions after you answer.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. But you said this at the end is to the case where we don't have the producer is the retailer. And I'm thinking in agriculture, for example, when you have the producer who try to sell directly to the consumer. So in this case, I think we have the transaction cost. We have to take into consideration the cost of the label. So this is the label to pay the organic label. If we have more citizen labelization and local labelization, it can be, we can reduce the cost and create more link and social link, and this is very important between consumer and producer. And in this case, I think the complementary currency can be really used and useful. It's just a remark.
I might have missed something. I'm not really sure what it is you're referring to when you, with the term short distribution channel. I don't really understand what that is. If you can provide a definition or description. And maybe you said it, but I wonder if you could say a little bit more about the potential causal relationship or between quality and other factors. Maybe we could call them barriers to entry, something like
quality, excuse me.
to I don't know if you could summarize it as barriers to entry for certain types of users, retailers or producers.
You mentioned your interviews, the interviews you did with the community currencies, and then you focused on the model, but I guess you used your qualitative data to empirically ground your model. So what have been the input of your interviews to your model?
My question is similar to the one previous of Melanie. Maybe you could give some intuition as to how the complementary currencies help to identify quality, or what it's not a non-intuitive result. So I'd like some help with that.
Okay.
A question.
Oh, sorry.
The questions are similar. One, the first, how do you define quality? And the second, have you included another variables in your model? Because we didn't see the equations, the consumptions, the equations to the model.
They are available.
Yeah, of course, but I want to know if you have you included another variables, the typical economics variables that explain the consumption.
Okay.